Welcome to FAWKES News Quickie. This is a Monday quick news story. Normally on this network, I try to give you the most pertinent news that's the most important to you, or something that we should keep dibs on, that it's not just some kind of a fluff or something to just have a story. The statue of an overweight black woman in Times Square might seem on the surface to some as just one of these distraction pieces or something that's not historically significant, but I think that this is going to play a very big role in the culture war that is being developed in the United States. I do believe that there are a lot of countries that would love to see us fail, but I think that this statue is much more than I think there is more intent behind this statue than what is being portrayed. If you've talked to Dexter Pitts, great podcast, I Am Pitts. He's got a great book called I Am Pitts. And it's all about being a black police officer amidst the Breonna Taylor stuff. He's a Purple Heart combat veteran from Iraq as well. And if you follow his social media, he has been talking a lot about the culture war kind of developing itself into almost a race war. And he's seeing it firsthand. And it's interesting to hear him talk about it. I was able to call him today. We had about an hour-long conversation from his perspective. And it's like we're on the same page. Our thoughts are the same thoughts. We're on the same journey here. And we're seeing the same indicators. And it's strange that other people, mainstream media, is not catching it. Instead, maybe they're using these little pieces, these little stories like this statue story as tinder for a fire that's eventually going to erupt. And you have to ask yourself, why? What is the purpose? Now, on the surface, this could just be a beautiful piece of art that makes you wonder, right? Good art always makes you. I enjoy art. Let me start with that. I enjoy looking at art. I really do. Rembrandt. I went to the Rembrandt exhibits recently. I think it's really cool stuff. Do you know why I think it's really cool? Because I have zero artistic ability at all. I can barely draw a stick figure. I have a very creative mind. I can see things in a very creative light, but actually producing it, I miss the mark, right? Like, I can visualize music in my head. I can come up with a melody in my head. I can come up with a song. I could write you a song, just like comedy, but I'm actually, comedy is one of the only things I can excel at. I can put the thought into my head and then I can put it out on a microphone. That's one of the only things creatively I'm really good at. But like music or a drawing, like I can picture something cool in my brain, but like I can't sing. I can't play any musical instruments. I'm not very good at it. And I'm just not very good at art. I always wanted to be good at art as a child, but I was not very good at all. And so I really do like art because it's something that I see that you have to be a talented individual to do it. And I appreciate that art. I don't like it when people take their creativity and they use it for nefarious purposes, right? Like if you're a really good singer, but you're singing about violent rapes and raps and stuff like that, then I'm annoyed by it. Like, why does this person get to be good at something and they're just going to use it in a negative way or not make the world a better place through their music? They're not using it as a creative outlet. They're using it as a platform to incite some sort of violence or some kind of anarchy. You know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense? Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm just full of shit. But I'm not the only one that feels this way about these statues. In fact, there is a lot to say from both sides of the aisle on this art. Now, I think the art is good. It's well done. Great job. Like, she does look like an angry black woman, right? But she looks like an average, any ordinary, overweight black person that I know. And here is my question. My question would be, if you're trying to make a statement, if you're going to build a 12-foot historically iconic piece right in the middle of Times Square, why do you want it to be of somebody average? Shouldn't statues be of something that you look up to? What if we put a powerful figure up there, somebody like a Harriet Tubman, or maybe like a Michelle Obama, even, maybe an Oprah Winfrey, or the Williams sister, or Simone Biles, if you wanted to put an athlete up there. If you wanted something to represent a culture for the test of time, do you want to just show what the average was? So it's very easy to get on board. Of course, you're going to love this if you're an average person. It's almost like the average in this world wanting to make the people who are above average not feel like they are deserving of being above average. See, people put in the work and they put in the effort. They should get the reward for that. But it's the mass and the overwhelming mass of normal folks that don't aspire to be anything except to live in a homeowners association, work your regular 9 to 5, show up, and just put out the bare minimum. See, that is easy. And maybe that makes you happy. But it doesn't mean that it should take away from the people who are doing a little bit extra, who are waking up a little bit earlier, who are trying to be a little bit more creative, who are owning a piece of property that they have to actually tend to, and they actually have to garden and manicure, and they have to do work, and they're working a 9 to 5, but they're trying to aspire to be something a little bit more. Maybe they're playing music on the side, doing a little stand-up comedy night. They're going a little bit over and beyond. Shouldn't those people, when they finally make it, shouldn't they be the ones put on the pedestal because they're the ones that woke up and went the extra mile? Why is it that the mediocre want to be put on a pedestal? You don't get to be put on a pedestal because you chose to be mediocre. And I think that is where the divide is. It's the overweight, fat, mediocre, average person that feels like they deserve to be put on a pedestal. And they're the ones who identify with this piece of art. They're like, finally, somebody recognizes us. But you've literally lived a life that's unrecognizable. One of my favorite new quotes that I made up is, just because you're simple doesn't mean you have to suck. It's okay to have a simple life. It doesn't mean your life sucks by any means. You can be epic in certain areas. You can go over and beyond and be a great parent. You can be over and beyond and be a great spouse. You can be a good employee. You can be a great softball player, a team player on your softball team, jiu-jitsu athlete, pickleballer, whatever. You don't have to be an influencer. You don't have to have 100,000 followers to be great or to be epic. But how would you like it if they decided to build, maybe it is that you work really hard at pickleball. And what if they just took like a fat, out of shape video gamer, and that's who they made a statue of to historically represent what a pickleball player is? Wouldn't you be a little bit upset? You're like, hold on. I've worked a 9 to 5, left my 9 to 5, went and hit the pickleball court, then went home, then did all my duties, then got up at 6 a.m, hit the pickleball court again. Like, I put a lot of effort into being pickleball. Like, I'm the average pickleball guy, not this fat slob that goes out there and plays once a week on Saturdays after he chose to leave work and go straight home and play video games, or leave work and go sit on his recliner, or whatever it is. He's not the above average representation of pickleball. Why does he get a statue? And I don't think it has to do with so much the race of the statue, but it has to do with the celebration of being mediocre. And so you've taken mediocre folks and you've taken angry mediocre folks and you've made this big giant statue of them. And I think that's where I want to go with this quickie. So I want to read a couple of these articles. I want to give you a couple of different perspectives. And then at the end of the day, I would love to know, what do you think about this statue? What about this statue offends you? Is it something different that offends me? And, we'll talk about whether it's art or not. But today's show is brought to you by factormeals.com/Wolfpack. Summer is upon us. We have so much to do. It's time to get outside when the skies are blue and the spring flowers are there. Now we can get up on the kayaks. We can go out on the hiking trail. We have a lot of things that we can do that aren't average, right? We can be above average this summer. Factor Meals is a great way to get you in shape so that you can live an active, healthy summer. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with wanting to be better for summer, and so that you can enjoy, so you can walk further, so you can enjoy nature more, so that you can swim longer, so that you can feel good about yourself in front of others, and you can have high self-esteem instead of low self-esteem. You don't have to fake your motivations. You don't have to fake your self-esteem. You can earn that ice cream, right? You can earn your 4th of July chili dog. That's my favorite. That's why I get for years, on the Failure Style podcast, you guys have followed that journey where every year I get in really, really good shape so that I can absolutely be a menace to chili dogs on 4th of July. I like to watch Joey Chestnut. I get amped up and I try to see how many hot dogs I can eat. I eat it all day long. I wake up to hot dogs. I go to bed to hot dogs on 4th of July. That's my thing. Hot dogs and rosé, dry rosé by the swimming pool. This year, you could start living a better than average life by getting your diet under control. Factor meals, that's what I love so much about Factor meals, is that we have protein heavy. If you're trying to get Papa Swolio, they've got keto. If you're trying to cut it down, they've got everything in between. They've got the snacks, the smoothies. They've got calorie conscious. Maybe you don't want to go full keto. You want to keep an eye on your calories. Factor Meals can do all of that for you. Head over to factormeals.com/Wolfpack50OFF. That's Wolfpack 50 off. So go to factormeals.com, promo code or /Wolfpack 50 off. It's 50% off plus free shipping. You can get that today. Go to factormeals.com /Wolfpack 50 OFF. 50% off shipping, delivered right to your door, chef prepared and never frozen. They heat up in the microwave 2 minutes or less. Head over there right now. And also we have Ghost Bed promo code Wolfpack. Sleep so good, it's scary. And I'll tell you, if Ghost Bed was in charge of making this statue, I think that would have been a home run, because Ghost Bed gets it. They get all the lifestyles. They have a bed for each lifestyle. They have the adjustable bases. They have the massage toppers. They even have pillowcases for people who have super delicate hair. Maybe you're going through menopause and you're losing some hair. They actually have a pillowcase. It's kind of like a bonnet, that material that like a bonnet has, but it's like for fragile hair. They got everything, man. We love GhostBed. Head over to ghostbed.com. Use the promo code Wolfpack, 10% off right now, plus a whole bunch of new stuff on the GhostBed website. It's been really cool. They've been working really, really hard to launch this new line of stuff from GhostBed. So head over there right now. Use that promo code Wolfpack. All right. So let me just read you from the Gothamist.com. I'm so sorry. Gothamist.com /arts and entertainment. So from the Gothamist, a statue of a Black woman in Times Square sparks discourse, inspiration, and internet hates. By the way, if you're one of the video listeners, here's a picture. If you're just an audio listener, I'll put both of these pictures up on our Instagram, FAWKES_news, and you can comment on what you think about this on our Instagram. So here we go. Let's read this article. A new statue in Midtown has been generating a lot of discussion, praise, vitriol. In the less than 2 weeks since artist Thomas J. Price's 12-foot tall bronze Grounded in the Stars sculpture, which depicts a young Black woman dressed in everyday clothes and standing with her hands on her hips, has been installed in Times Square, it has inspired a great deal of in-person intrigue and online discourse of both love and hate. What makes presenting public art in Times Square so incredible and so powerful is that you know that you are going to get the widest range of reactions and perspectives, said Gene Cooney, director of Times Square Arts, the group behind the work. You cannot call yourself the crossroads of the world without being prepared to host a crossroads of opinions. On a recent sunny Thursday, people passing the statue expressed feelings ranging from positive to apathetic. One quote is, "I'm happy that it shows Black women and our bodies because they body shame people too much." No, you just spend too much time on the internet focusing on those people that are body shaming you, actually. People don't really come right out and shame you right to your face. I think it's beautiful. I love to see it. I wish we could see more of it, said Chanel Moore, adding that she was unsure if the statue depicted a specific person. It in fact depicts an amalgamation of people Price has met. Wow, that sucks. That sucks that this man, I don't know what his cultural background is. Maybe he looks a little Pakistani to me. I don't know. Maybe he's Indian or Pakistan or He's definitely he's a person of color. I'm not sure which. And I don't think that really matters. But what I do think matters is like if you're trying to paint a piece of art that exemplifies Black women in America, why don't you use a Black woman artist to do the sculpture? Why are we using a British male to sculpt some meaningful Black female piece of art for America? That's my problem with this. Ayanna Joseph called the statue a win for representation that she could see herself and her daughter in. Isn't that sad that that's what you want to see your daughter as? An angry, overweight Black woman? Why is that what you want to inspire to be? That's why I think that this statue is so poisonous, is because it really puts mediocre on a pedestal. Mediocrity on a pedestal. Like, I don't want to see mediocre people. I don't strive to be a mediocre person. If you strive for nothing, you're sure to get there unless you're in the United States in 2025. If you strive for nothing, then people will try to build you up in a negative way. They'll try to convince you that being fat is okay, so you'll get fatter. You'll die sooner. They don't really care about you. They're virtue signaling to make themselves feel better. Look what I did. I did a good deed. You didn't help this person out at all. In many forums and comments online, the work is also being heralded as an empowering, accessible work that gently challenges conventional standards of beauty and representation through existence. It's the opposite of beauty. Can you be overweight and beautiful? Yeah. Yeah, but you have to have something extraordinary on top of that, right? Maybe you're overweight and beautiful because you have put all of your eggs in a singing basket and you're great at singing. And so all the time that you could have been losing weight and getting skinny, you put it into something that you really love, which is music, and you got overweight. But see, that's beautiful because you're not lazy. You're not fat because you're lazy. You're overweight because of the opposite of that. And that has its own form of beauty. Or maybe you're a great artist, but if you're just a middle of the road person that's just complaining all the time, still showing up for a 95, and you've got nothing else that's going on, you can't even win in your love life and maintain a long-lasting marriage or whatever it is. And now we're going to depict a win for representing that she could see herself and her daughter in? Wouldn't you rather see a loving husband and a loving wife and a loving kid together statue? Isn't that something to work towards? Or like I said, I mean, honestly, if I'm a Black woman in America, I'm pissed that this is what you think. This is what you think of Black women in America. Like, isn't that fucking embarrassing? Like, I think this guy's being low-key an asshole. Like, I think this guy low-key is like being like the anti-feminist. Like, he's like, look at this dude. I'm going to make a fat Black woman. I'm going to make it 12 feet tall because that's what I think American Black women are. And people are going to love it because it's art. That's what I think. I think he's bamboozled you. That's my opinion. I think it's very mean. Why wouldn't you have Simone Biles? I mean, look at all the things that Simone Biles has been through and she's accomplished. Shouldn't she be on a statue? I mean, if you want to go there, how about Oprah Winfrey? I mean, I could go on and on. Rosa Parks, if you want to get really into it. I mean, I'm not a Beyonce fan, but I mean, I think Beyonce's probably accomplished more than whatever this statue is of or represents. If you want to put an overweight Black woman on there, why don't you put an extraordinary overweight Black woman on there like Harriet Tubman? You know, I'm not saying it has to be some skinny female by any means, or, you know, some Rihanna. By the way, Rihanna's another great name. Or how about Kamala Harris? Right? Isn't she Black now? Or Indian? You could have both. You talk about the crossroads. She's Indian and she's Black. And she's a Jew. And she's a Southerner and she's a Northerner. She's everything. She is the epitome, or she is the crossroads. Michelle Obama. We love her, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a little confused by this sculpture. Let me go to this website here on ArtNet. News.artnet.com. Monumental sculpture of Black woman in Times Square sparks debate. Thomas J. Price's sculpture shows an everyday woman in everyday clothes, but the unidolized Black figure isn't being universally hailed. I think it's about time. I think we're kind of tired of that. Like, it's not real. We shouldn't idolize mediocre people. Doesn't mean you have to be an asshole to them or you can't appreciate them. You can't be friends with them. You wouldn't want a statue of me to represent podcasters. You would want Joe Rogan. You would want, maybe a Howard Stern. If you wanted to go on the left side of things, maybe there are female, what is it, Tasha K. For strong black female voice. I'm not going to say Shannon Sharp because we know what's going on there. But point being, you wouldn't want me, a mediocre podcaster, to be a bronze statue of podcasters. That's not a historical representation of podcasters. British artist Thomas J. Price probably could have counted on some controversy when he erected a sculpture of a Black woman in New York Times Square. Unveiled April 29th, the 12-foot high bronze grounded in stars shows an unidolized woman in everyday clothes standing with her hands on her hips, gazing into the distance with a contemplative look. It's an angry look, to be honest with you. It's and I like the comments on here. Like, some of them are like, you're definitely not getting a tip. That's the look on the face. Or it's like, I didn't get any fries with my order, or I ordered a burger with it. Like, all the comments are pretty hilarious, and that's what it leaves you with. You make something like this that's easy for people to make fun of. You can't get mad or call it racist when people make fun of it. Reminds me of an episode of The Office, actually. So here we go. Per a description of the work by the presenter, Times Square Arts, Price's practice confronts preconceived notions of identity and representation. And controversy he got despite a subtle degree of aggrandizement. Price's figure stands in a pose that nods to Michelangelo's David. And Gene Cooney, director of Times Square Arts, was drawn to the artist's work because of the novel ways in which he imparts a sense of reverence for people's everyday humanity. So what's the humanity here? She looks like an aggravated Karen, to be honest with you. Like, it's kind of an annoying look that she has. It's that, like, oh, I'm the president. I'm going to tell the HOA that you have, your garage door open. That's the kind of look I see from this. Not something that's like flattering when I walk through Times Square for the first time. It doesn't make me, and that's my problem, is because it's like, if you were a Black woman, wouldn't you want somebody to see a representation that makes you love Black women and appreciate Black women? I'm not sure that a lot of white people are going to appreciate this. That doesn't make them racist, but I wouldn't appreciate a white Karen. Now, you think Black people would want to walk through Times Square, or white people or Indian people, Irish, Scottish people would want to walk through Times Square and see a fucking angry Karen statue? It creates an anxiety that's kind of like, what the fuck? There's no joy. What would be the point? It's the purpose. It's like you're trying to create animosity, not diversity and inclusion. You're trying to paint somebody in a negative light. Leave it to some British dude to make fun of American Black women. That's how I perceive it. I'd like to know how you perceive it. But he's being greeted in some quarters online as an unflattering representation, one with an attitude, one who looks stereotypically angry. Interesting. I never thought I would see where people are celebrating a stereotype, usually when you're talking in stereotypes towards the Black community, that's very offensive. We can stereotype Mexicans, we can stereotype any other culture, but usually here in America, we don't talk about Black stereotypes. That's offensive. It's like we can have burritos and wear sombreros and drink margaritas on Cinco de Mayo, but host a party where you have Black cultured foods, and you are going to see it as extremely racist, even though those foods are really fucking good. I can't even say it because it would be considered racist. And that to me is sad, because then we don't get to celebrate like we do on St. Patrick's Day or like we do on Cinco de Mayo. White people speaking, right? We don't really get to celebrate the food and the culture of that because you'll just call us racist for doing so. So we don't use stereotypes, the stereotypical foods, because that's racist. But now when a British man makes a stereotypical angry black woman statue, all of a sudden that's okay. By the way, I don't see the stereotypical black woman as being angry. I mean, Margaret and Kay Dean, those are like, I do stand-up comedy with Margaret. I've worked with Kay Dean for many years. Those are the average, black females that I know. They're not angry. Times Square Art's own Instagram post of the work has generated dozens of comments with plenty of love eyes, flexing muscles, and fire emojis, but they run the gamut, including Bessie Blunt 16, quote, trash, Miss Izzy B's, I hate your statue as it's not an accurate representation of black women. We come in all shapes and sizes, and you have her plainly dressed looking angry. You're British, and you know nothing of black American women. You should be ashamed of yourself. I agree with this woman. Quote, this is some leftist nonsense just to piss off white people. And here we go. If you want to say, if your retort to that is, well, then white people need to wake up. No, because if I do something that would aggravate any of my black friends, I would not do that because my goal in life is not to piss off my black friends. So I don't know why that would be, the great community likes to use that too. Oh, well, you just don't like it because you don't like, well, you know why I don't put a Trump flag blaring in my front yard? Because I don't want to make my neighbors uncomfortable. But you're okay with putting a big giant gay flag up, and then you tell me I shouldn't feel uncomfortable about it. Well, then you shouldn't feel comfortable about a big giant MAGA flag if I put one up, which you would. And that's the point. I'm not here to make enemies with you, so I don't do it. I don't put Trump anything. I don't even put the stickers on my car because I don't want to incite people to be mad at me for my political views. That's not what I don't wake up every day and try to see how I can piss off the other side. I wake up every day and say, how can I relate to the other side? How can me and the other side get together and break bread? So why would you do something if it didn't piss somebody off, if it did piss them off? JF121212 says, quote, and based on the comments, blacks don't like it either. Again, I think it's crazy that we create content that makes multiple races use terms like the blacks don't like it either. Like, I don't think that's appropriate. Why are we using that term? And why is it okay just because we're referencing art? It's not kind. It's not nice. And again, it goes back to how I started this podcast off was, to me, this is all kindling for a race war that mainstream media and social media and the algorithms are trying to put. The algorithms are moving these types of posts. Here's a great example. And this is what Dexter and I talk about. Dexter has had some really great episodes out lately. He's not trending on any charts right this second. I make one post that says you're anti-Nazi, but you're not an anti-gang member, and it moved to the top of the algorithm and gets 30,000 views in less than a couple of days with hundreds of comments. But I can make something else that's an awesome skateboarding video that's wholesome and great, and it'll get 250 views. The algorithm is trying to incite another summer of love, a second summer of love. Their guy is not in control. Their guy, not Republicans or Democrats, but the big government is not in control. The Jeff Bezos of this world, the rich elites of these worlds, the rich conservatives of this world, the rich elite Democrats of this world, they're not getting their way right now. And so they are making fools of us, and they're going after the easy thing, which is a race war. And it's stuff like this in the middle of Times Square, the epicenter of the United States. One of the things that, foreigners see as the center of America, even though it's not the center, but like metaphorically speaking, it's the center of America. And then we're going to take a British artist from the UK, and we're going to, this makes no sense to me. Does it make sense to you? Predictably, aesthetic conservatives use President Donald Trump's slogan to degenerate the work. One means juxtaposes it with Antoine Pavel Wagner's classicizing 19th century Hercules and Charybdis. I'm not Greek, so this is all Greek to me. In which the mythical Greek hero sports abs for days under the heading "Make Statues Great Again." Again, I'm not saying that you have to put a pretty hot black woman up there like Rihanna. But what I'm saying is, why couldn't you put a Harriet Tubman up there? Why couldn't you put an Oprah Winfrey up there? And Oprah when she's in between diets, even if you wanted to go with black and beautiful and overweight, if that's what you were going. But no, you chose angry black woman that's mediocre in all things. That's a victim to everything. That isn't waking up trying to do the right thing. She's just, I'm not going to do this. I mean, that's what, and I'm not the only one that thinks this. I mean, you can't look at this sculpture and think anything else but angry, fat black lady. And that's sad. That's ugly. That's not the feeling I want to have. Matter of fact, I wish I didn't have a podcast. I didn't wish I have to talk about this because I think this is gross and mean. In America, I want there to be hope. Hope that we're not like the other countries that are oppressing the women, that are making them wear burqas, and we're oppressing them and making them have a religion and not allowing them to go to schools, that aren't forcing the women to breastfeed and that's their only option. I'm not trying, I want to live in an America where you don't have to be some kind of angry black woman fighting for everything. I mean, we've had the runner-up for president this year, the vice president was a black woman. We've got AOC as the front runner for the Democratic Party now. We got people like Candace Owens. We got people out there like Cori Bush. You got people like the mayor of Chicago. You got Corrine Brown. You got so many right now. Michelle Obama, if you want to, Mae Jemison. We've got a lot of people out there right now. A lot of black women who are doing a lot of great things politically. And it's like, that should be a beacon of hope in this country. Why aren't you putting that up on a pedestal? Why aren't you trying to encourage black women to be something other than what this guy in the UK sees black women as? Maybe I have it all wrong. I don't know. Maybe I have it all wrong, but I have no problem with a black overweight female being a statue. But why don't we make it a black overweight female who is not mediocre, who deserves a statue? Think about all the female black artists out there. Why didn't you get a black woman to make your sculpture? Wouldn't that have been more powerful? A black woman makes a statue 12 feet tall of Harriet Tubman right in the middle of Times Square. Shit, it didn't have to be that great of a sculpture. You would still be like, fuck yeah, dude. That's fucking awesome, man. Or how about that single black mom who's got her arms around a girl with a college graduation cap on? Or her son that's holding on to a basketball because he's excelling at life even without a father. Or like I said, maybe you get that black woman and that black man and break that stereotype. That's a sad stereotype, by the way. As a father of 5, man, I don't want to see anybody raised without their father. And I wish people would advocate about, being more careful about how you have sex so that you don't create kids that you have to abandon. What do you guys think? I mean, I'd love to know what you think. Head over to our Instagram, please, and let me know. Also on another note here, though, that I wanted to just, dive into this Thomas J. Price really quick. There was the Thomas J. Price, what he put on his, on his Wikipedia page. And I know that it's an open, people can edit that content and things like this. But, if I had a Wikipedia page, I would be really upset if somebody portrayed my art the way that it's portrayed here. So if we go down to his Wikipedia page, in 2022, Price returned to the fictional character depicted in Reaching Out with the statue Moments Contained, which was unveiled in Rotterdam Central Station in Rotterdam, Netherlands. The statue depicts an unnamed young black woman with her hands in her pockets. Price explains you can see the knuckles slightly pressing through the fabric. And I think there's also this sense of containing oneself. Like she's so mad that her knuckles are pressed against her thing. So she's this angry black woman in the Netherlands. And that's potential energy that's there, and the emotion or the psychological tension that's just ready to emerge from the piece. At the unveiling the statue, the former mayor of Rotterdam said he expected to become the city's most photographed image. She's not a heroine, a character with an illustrious past. She is the future, our future, and the city is her home. So your future is, again, an overweight, mediocre, angry black woman? Why is there no black women of any substance or that's not mediocre in the Netherlands that you could have made a statue of, so that when I come to the Netherlands, I'll be like, fuck yeah, dude, they got some badass black chicks here. Holy shit, I didn't know so-and-so is here. I didn't know the history of this amazing black woman here. But no, I'm going to go to the Netherlands. I'm like, oh, you've got angry, black, fat, overweight black girls too. We have that in America, and white ones and Indian ones. Like, that's okay, great. See ya. I mean, I don't know, what am I supposed to feel as somebody who really likes to look at art and have feelings about it. I don't know what you want me to feel here. Like, none of it's positive though. Like, it doesn't make me love black people more or black women more or overweight people more. If that's what you're trying to do, it doesn't make me love them anymore. If anything, it gives me a little bit of anger in my heart that like anger for them, like that this is how you see them. Like, I think you're a disgusting human being. If this is how you see black women around the world, I think you're a piece of shit. That's how I see it. I don't mean, is that what you want to look like, Mr. Price? Is that what you're going for? And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you see this as heroic, but I would love to know your perspective. Change my mind. Maybe go, oh, well, just because I feel that way, that doesn't, and maybe your perception makes me take a step back and go, oh, this is a beautiful piece of art. But as I read through all the comments and all the negativity, all I see is overwhelming negativity and meanness and things that are racists. So it makes me wonder, is this more fuel to a racist fire, this culture war that we've been talking about on this show? Because this seems like an overt piece of work. I like I said, I don't understand a British man putting a 12-foot statue of an angry, overweight black woman in the middle of Times Square. And that is supposed to be unifying? It's supposed to bring unity? Or is it just supposed to make all the angry, fat black women empowered and everybody else mad at them for feeling empowered and hate them for feeling awesome at being mediocre? I don't know. Like, I talked to Dexter. He kind of feels the same way. And it's very uncomfortable to feel this way. I don't want to feel this way. Again, I like to, I don't see black women as any more or less powerful. Like I said, like when I go through the realm of powerful black women, I can name as many powerful black women in my brain as I can powerful white women. Like, if you want to talk about black athletes that I know, Simone Biles, or women athletes that I know, Simone Biles, the Williams sisters in tennis. That's probably about it, because I don't know. But ask me how many white women that I know in athletics. Fucking zero. I don't even know that one that's really good at basketball. I don't even know her name. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe you should make more statues of women in general that are fucking awesome, so that we can, guys like me, can be more stoked and excited about, I don't know, women's history. Again, I don't know what the point is here. If you want to go the route that we build a lot of male statues, sure, you have no argument for me here. Then put more iconic women out there. But this is not, this 12-foot statue is not going to make me want to see more art of women from an artist. It just makes me go, what the fuck? You couldn't put somebody fucking cool up there? I mean, shit, that's embarrassing. That sucks. That's my whole argument to the WNBA. You don't have one female billionaire investor backing you? That's embarrassing. That sucks. I don't know. You tell me. At the end of the day, do you think that this is unifying in any way, shape, or form? Do you think this brings unity, or do you think that it creates a very darker, more sinister conversation that doesn't have a healthy outcome? Because I don't know of any other way to talk about this statue in a more positive light. Because it doesn't seem, at least according to the internet, it doesn't seem that a lot of people have anything nice to say about this. And then if they do have something nice to say about this, and you go and look at their profile, I mean, there's nobody of meaning. Like, you don't see Beyonce coming out and talking about how beautiful this thing is. You don't see Oprah Winfrey coming out talking about how beautiful this thing is. You don't see Candace Owens talking about how beautiful this thing is. You don't see Khalila Ali coming out and saying anything about this. And if they are, media's not putting it out there for us to see. Maybe that's where you need to go. Like, if this is something that you want to, that we're missing the point on, then maybe you get a Beyonce or some kind of powerful figure to generate the discussion in the healthier way that you were wanting it to go in the first place. But I don't think that was the case. I don't think that was the intent for Mr. Price. I think he's got you fooled. I think this is a stab at American black women, to be honest with you. And I think it's disgusting, and I think it's very racist. And we'll see how more of this comes up. But I think this is going to play even bigger into the summer of love that we have coming. And we'll see. I hope I'm wrong. Gosh, I hope I'm so wrong. I don't want to see that. I want to see our country thrive and survive. And I want to see us unite healthy, in a healthy way. I don't know. Maybe you didn't know about the overweight black woman in Times Square statue, but now you do know. And G.I. Joe says it the best. Knowing is what? It's half the battle. We've got a lot to cover. We've got the longest dogfight in history that took place in India. That's going to be something fun to talk about. We've got just a whole lot of things to talk about on Wednesday. A lot of stuff going on in the news. A lot of things that we missed. We have the Democrats and their own little insurrection as they have tried to take over an ICE building. We got to get into all of that. And so just a lot of things to cover on Wednesday on our long formatted show. And we'll have a couple of special guests. So tune in Wednesday live on the YouTubes at 10 a.m. Dropping the audio short after. Make sure you support our sponsors. Go to factormeals.com. Start your meal planning today. Use the promo code Wolfpack50 for 50% off. It's Wolfpack promo code. I'm sorry, Factor Meals /Wolfpack50 OFF. And then we have ghostbed.com. Beds made in the good old USA. Promo code Wolfpack. Of course, if you want extra content, we have Santana True Crime on the network, teaming up this week with Abby Ellsworth from On Being a Police Officer. We've got the Failure to Stop podcast. We've got the sports show, and then we've got everything extra on Patreon. Head over to the Failure to Stop Patreon, and you can, it's like less than a cup of coffee a month. Lots of extra content from true crime to TANSEY time to more sports stuff, politics stuff with Josh. Become a part of our family. Follow us on WTS_Wolfpack. FTS_Wolfpack. That's the private group on Facebook. And then also, if you join the Patreon, you get into the Discord group. There's a lot going on in there. So we'd love to have as many of you guys in there as we can. Until next time, guys, cheers.